Hey, Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. This is the roundtable for April, and it's going to be a good one. We've got a good subject to go through. We're going to catch up on some general Who-ness, but before we kick it on with that, let's introduce the team. My name is Gary, of course, and joining me is...
Sorry, I'm Maria.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Matt.
I'm Harry.
You guys and your technology. Dear oh dear. So, I am joined by Maria, Jordan, Matt and Harry, and sadly no Adam or Mark this evening. Those guys, I think those guys have got something called a life, which is interesting. So they're off doing life stuff. So we'll steer the ship for tonight and do all that stuff. So as always, we will see how this goes technology wise. We've already had one casualty. Jordan's just left us. I'm sure he'll pop back up and say hello. So the content for the April Roundtable is, before we crack on with our thoughts and getting our team's thoughts on the recent Jodie special, The Legend of the Sea Devils, because you guys, if you've heard the podcast from last week, you know my thoughts and Adam's thoughts on it, so I'm not going to tread the same old water. Welcome back, Jordan. Jordan's back in the game, so to speak. We tagged him back in. Hello, Jordan. So,
hello.
Yes, we will get onto that. These guys will give you their thoughts on Legend of Sea Devils. So I'm very, very much looking forward to what these guys thought to that. But before we do that, we're going to catch up on some Who, because as always, as we get close to a new Doctor arriving and a new era, etc., we always have these things going on. So, especially here in the UK, the newspapers and the media outlets just go nuts with silly rumours and scraping the barrel for news stories and so on. So before we get on to the slight details with that, open forum as always, guys. Who's getting to that point now where they're really looking forward to a new Doctor with Russell coming on board? So I don't want to call time too early on Jodie's era. We've still got another episode to go, of course, but who is now getting to that point where they're kind of just looking forward to something new?
I'll jump in.
I am.
Oh, well, now.
Oh, here we go.
Well, we're going to have to fight
Harry.
for it.
Go on, Harry. What do you reckon?
After you, Matt. Oh, all right then. After me. Okay. We're just too polite. It's very British of us. Yeah, I'm so excited for something new, Gary. Honestly, in fact, well, as will become apparent when I talk about my thoughts on Legend of the Sea Devils later on, I am very much in the mood for something new and something good. You know, that'd be quite nice.
Something good.
yeah.
Just as simple as that. Just want some good Doctor Who. Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like it used to be, you know, and it will be, hopefully, because Russell's coming back. You know, it is a dream come true. I mean, I still pinch myself, you know, at the thought of it. It's you know, it's a wonderful thing. I'm very optimistic about 2023 onwards, I think. Okay,
interesting. Matt, what were you going to say, dude?
I was just going to say basically the same thing. Yeah, really looking forward to something new. As much as I really enjoyed Flux, apart from episode 6, I enjoyed Eve of the Daleks, and you'll hear what I think of Legends of the Sea Devils or Legends of the Exposition a bit later. But yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to Russell coming back. Hugh Grant coming on as the 14th Doctor. I think it's just going to be brilliant, you know.
Lovely. Okay, let's go to Jodie's biggest fan.
I'm sorry, I thought David Tennant was the 14th Doctor. Or have I heard that wrong?
Yeah, they probably both will. It will be like an alternate universe. Go between the multiverse thing. We've got Hugh Grant in one, Tennant in the other.
Oh, they
Danny
can do anything,
Dyer
can't they?
in another one, yeah. Jodie Whittaker's biggest fan, Maria. what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I keep seeing all these rumours that David Tennant is coming back, and so I'm kind of thinking, obviously that must be a lot of spin, because I can't imagine, he would come back. I mean, I suppose they could do it, but yeah, I am looking forward to something new. I mean, I'm very conscious that we've got a while to wait until we see the regeneration. So, and obviously, we can talk about the trailer and everything, but which looks really interesting. So, I am looking forward to something fresh. But I think we're going to have to wait until quite late in the year, aren't we? Until we see the new Doctor. So, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I haven't really had any recent thoughts about who it could be, but I'm excited. I mean, I think a bit like Harry was saying, it is a bit of a dream that RTD is coming back, really. Obviously we haven't seen anything coming out to say what they're doing at the moment, but yeah, it's a bit of a dream. You do have to kind of pinch yourself and kind of say he's definitely coming back. So I am looking forward to something new, definitely. I mean, I did rewatch Legend of the Sea Devils again today. And if I have a story that doesn't have so much exposition in it, I will be really, really happy. Mm-hmm. And I think I think Russell's going to pull it out the bag, as you were saying, I think in the podcast, in terms of characterization and things like that. So definitely looking forward to something new, and it's very exciting to kind of imagine what that might be. So that's my take on it.
Nice one. Okay, Jordan, what are your thoughts? Are you looking forward to this? Or are you happy with Jodie's stuff? You don't want her to go?
I want to go. Not sure about... I think I'm looking forward to it, someone new being the Doctor, I think. And I think this Sea Devil one really sort of proved that I think it's time that they all went. But I still can't get over the feeling that I think Jodie Whittaker's been done dirty by this whole era, I think, is the problem. But I don't know. I'm excited that Russell T Davies is coming back.
Interesting, Jordan. So you feel like she's been sort of sold a bill of sour grapes?
I think she has. I mean, I think she was good. She's brilliant in the stories that Chris Chibnall doesn't write. If that makes sense. Things like Demons of the Punjab and Blam and things like that, stuff that he didn't actually write. I think other writers have got a better handle on her Doctor than he does. Okay. And maybe they're just writing it as if it was a different Doctor altogether. But I don't know. I think the problem really has been Chris Chibnall. I don't like bashing, people and whatever, but I do think that a lot of the blame for these series can be put at his door.
Okay. Interesting. I think most of us would agree with you on that one, because I think certainly on the podcast when Adam and I were reviewing each Jodie series as we went through them, we definitely picked up on that. The episodes that Chibbers wasn't writing, they seem to have a little bit more substance to them and a little bit more, what's the word? The Doctor wasn't so paint by numbers. So I think that the episodes where Chibbers writes for Jodie, it's very much something's gone bad, investigate with the Sonic, bit of exposition, tie it all up in a nice bow at the end. Yeah. Move on to the next one. So, I think a lot of people would agree with you, dude, on that one.
Okay, it's not just me then. That's fine.
Oh, no. It's a common thing, I think, dude. Okay, interesting. So I think we're all in agreement there. The consensus is, although Jodie's got one episode to go, we are all looking forward to a bit of a change up, bit of a, don't let the door hit you on the way out sort of thing. Okay, so Cool. And then just one thing I wanted to pick up before we get onto the Sea Devil stuff was this story that's been going around the newspaper website. I don't think they're in the newspapers, but the website for the newspapers, like the Radio Times and the Express and so on, where they're pretty much destroying the next episode before it's even gone out the door. So the crux of the story is essentially Jodie has been muscled out of the story prematurely because there's a much larger cast of arguably more popular characters. So her finale regen story is a failure before it's even got off the ground. So what they're basically saying is, because the Next Time trailer was the most popular thing of Doctor Who for that week and completely overshadowed the episode, everybody is talking about Ace coming back, Tegan, and apparently there's another character that we don't know about yet that is also coming back that's not been in the trailer or announced, and the Master being back and all that stuff. So basically the vibe of these articles is Jodie hasn't got a fair crack at the whip for her own regen story because all of these other very cool popular characters will take the limelight off of her, and it'll be about that. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? What do you reckon, Maria?
Well, I hadn't actually read the story, so it's actually, really interesting that you should say that. I mean, it kind of makes me imagine, is it going to be kind of a bit like episode 1 of Flux, where we were kind of introduced to all these different characters and scenarios, and, it was all a bit of a jumble, trying to work it all out. I mean, when you said that Jodie hadn't got a fair, or the impression is that Jodie's not going to get a regeneration that kind of concentrates on her. I did actually kind of imagine. I went back to actually David Tennant's last story. He got obviously a 2-parter, which kind of gave him a really good farewell, and obviously had that protracted farewell at the end. But yeah, I think I would like Jodie to actually have a good regeneration story. I think it would be really unfortunate if she was overshadowed. But Chris Chibnall waits until the last minute to kind of bring back all these characters that we've been dying for him to bring back over his tenure. I mean, he's had three series to kind of think about it, and he decides he's going to bring them all back in the last story. I mean, I don't know whether it's a act of desperation or a stroke of genius. I don't know. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much time Jodie actually gets. But I think it's meant to be a 90-minute special, apparently. So, who knows? I mean, she may get a good send-off. I'm not sure.
Who knows? To say. Yeah. Just for some context, guys. So this is one of them. This is from the radiotimes.com. And the article title is Doctor Who Centenary Special Already in Trouble? ? And then the sort of subtitle is Jodie Whittaker's regeneration story should be the focus, but a host of guest stars and returning foes risks making the story overstuffed and taking the focus away from the Doctor's regeneration. So that's from the radiotimes.com. But what do you reckon, Matt?
Well, I mean, come on. You look at David Tennant's final episode. You had Donna, Wilf, you had the Master, you had the Return of the Time Lords, you had who else? I mean, everybody who was ever in RTD's era, basically at the end as a farewell. You go to Matt Smith's last episode, and I know you're reviewing this one next week, I believe, or this week. So I won't say too much, but everyone in the kitchen sink is in there. So I can't believe. I think it's clickbait. It's all that is. Chibnall has got to look at the viewing stats and think, right, well, something's not working. What do people want? And they want people that they want the characters that they like. They want a decent story, but that's neither here nor there. And I mean, he's looks like in the last episode, it's taken him 5 years, but looks like we're going to get something that we actually want. I don't think that it's going to overshadow Jodie because, like I say, nearly every Doctor has had the exact same thing. So yeah, I think, she's not had a fair crack at the whip for her entire run, like Jordan was saying, not just this last episode.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's really fair to say that just because we're getting some cool people and some more characters in on the last episode that it's going to totally ruin her exit. Mm-hmm. I don't agree with it.
Okay, interesting. Jordan, what do you think?
I don't think it'll overshadow it. I think he'll keep the focus on the 13th Doctor, and I think Tegan and Ace and everybody else that's coming back will just be, I just use the term the icing on the cake, but it's that kind of thing. It's like, oh, all right, this is what you want, I'll give you what you want. And I think that's kind of what his attitude seems to be with this finale. I don't think it'll overshadow her era ending. I think it'll, who knows, it might wrap it up in a nice little bow. You never know.
Okay, cool. And Harry?
A couple of things. I think maybe it might be a good thing to give Chibnall a bit of the benefit of the doubt because, maybe plans were different before the pandemic happened and he would have had more episodes to maybe, he would have had more time to have tied up some of the loose ends. I am a little bit concerned that it's not all going to be done satisfyingly in like one 75-minute, 90-minute episode or whatever. I feel like that's not enough time to, sort through all of the returning characters and monsters that we have coming back. Ones that we didn't even realise were going to be coming back, like the Lone Cyberman, like he's back from the dead now, like, which is a bit strange, and also the Timeless Child stuff, and probably the inevitable return of Joe Martin. Like, yeah, it seems like it's going to be packed. So if anything, like Jodie's regeneration being overshadowed is kind of the least of my worries. It's more just kind of like how is this going to be comprehensible? How is this going to be palatable? Because it seems like there's just so much going on. So, and if that is the case, I mean, yeah, we could put it down to perhaps Chibnall, not having as much time as he perhaps could have had to have got that stuff done. I feel like a lot of what he might have had planned has maybe gone askew at this point. So it'd be really interesting for him to talk, like post Doctor Who, kind of what those plans would have been before COVID happened. So yeah, I hope there's some kind of writer's tale, like maybe not like quite as extensive as that, but an interview in Doctor Who magazine maybe where he explains all of that. And also I think Doctor Who these past few years has been a bit more, for want of maybe a better word, quiet. It's moved to Sunday nights and it's just a little bit calmer, a little bit more quiet. So if Jodie's regeneration isn't like this big bombastic, speech in the TARDIS blows up the TARDIS kind of ordeal, which we've come to expect over the last sort of 10 years, then I think that's befitting of the way this era has panned out. So I'm not sure if I would necessarily mind if it wasn't the focal point of the episode. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on it.
Okay, some really good thoughts from you guys on that, because I thought that similar thing. So to follow up on what you were saying, Matt, yes, Adam and I did review The Time of the Doctor earlier, so that was Matt's last story, The Regen, and that's all done in one episode of around 55 minutes. And in that particular, I don't know if you guys remember that story, but that's the one where the Moff Bag resolved all of the things in one go. So that was like the crack in the wall, the Time Lords coming through, the silence, all that stuff where the TARDIS blew up the universe and the Doctor rebooted it. All of those things, Moffat resolved all of that. So I won't give too much away until you listen to that episode for this week. But if they try and do a similar thing, if Chibas tries to do a similar thing here, then that is a concern, that is a worry. So I'm wondering how much he's going to try and squeeze in and speed run through it, because alongside the stuff that's not necessarily we need to have resolved, but the things that he might choose to give us answers to, on top of that, you've got this big supporting cast who are also there, who also need screen time, who also need to figure out how they're going to move narratively through this episode. So yeah, it's really interesting. I thought you guys were just going to say, yeah, it's going to be rubbish, but as usual, you've given us great insight because you're awesome big brains. So yeah, that's really interesting, guys. Okay, unless you guys know of anything, I don't think there's anything else that's sort of knocking around in terms of new Who news or anything like that. I can't see any, but
I mean, all I'm going to say is that it's, thrilling that Tegan and Ace are coming back, even if, maybe they are spare parts in the story like Kate Stewart was at the end of Phlox. That's a treat. So yeah,
spare parts, good story. Matt, sorry, go on.
I did see a slight rumor, and I know we don't do rumors on the podcast, but it got me really excited, so I'm going to have to talk about it. But there's a slight rumor that that RTD might be planning a surprise holiday 2022 special, and the only reason that I think that this deserves merit is it was RTD's idea to give the Christmas specials their yearly episodes since he brought it back, and this will be the first year, if I'm not mistaken, that we won't have one since 2005, at least a holiday special, if not a Christmas special. So that's kind of makes me think maybe there might be something towards it, but could be total rubbish.
Why'd you do this, Matt? Why'd you do this? We were all set and prepared and ready to just wait a year and a half for the new stuff. But now you've dangled the carrot. It's like, yeah, it could be back for Crimbo special RTD. Why'd you do that? Because now Christmas is going to come and go, and if it doesn't happen, all eyes are going to be on you, buddy.
I know, and you know that the BBC and Radio Times and The Guardian listen, so it's going to be all headline news tomorrow. I'm going to have reporters at my door.
Yeah, they will be. Yeah, they'll be like, guys, you listen to Big Blue Box, right? Yeah. So Matt was on there last night, and he's blown it. The cat's out the bag. Brilliant. We'll have to announce that. I'll tell you what, Matt, if there's an announcement in the next month or two for a Christmas special, that's you, mate. You've done that. Well done.
I think I can hear
You'll
RTD.
have someone knocking on your door, being like, "How dare you?"
I think it's RTD now.
Oh God, there will be a knock on the door. But like, Matt, there's someone here for you. He's in a suit. He looks quite important, and he's got a briefcase. There's nothing in it, but something quite heavy's rattling around in it. He says he wants to talk to you alone. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that then. Okay, so there's nothing else other than Matt's potentially breaking the internet style rumour. There's nothing else that's knocking around. So let's get into it then. Let's talk about what you guys thought of Legend of the Sea Devils. Now, it's no surprise, especially if you haven't. When you were back at school, because listener, you can't obviously see what I'm seeing. I can just see a sea of faces of our Blue Box team. And do you remember when you were back at school and you were all hyped up in one lesson because you thought you were going to have like just a lesson of watching a video and it was going to be nice and chilled, but then the teacher just pulls a 180 on you and it's like, we're going to have a test, and everyone's face just drops and there's the tone just changes. That's just what's happened. Exactly that. When I mentioned the episode, everyone's face was like, all of a sudden, I'm busy. Need to end.
It was an absolute betrayal when the teachers used to do that.
It was, yes. So class, tomorrow, we're going to watch a video on, insert thing here, probably something on space or metals or lions or something. And then it's like, oh, the video's broken. The VCR machine doesn't work. The top loader is busted. So we're going to do a test on something else. Maths. Brilliant. So, Legend of the Sea Devils. If you guys have listened to the regular podcast, last week Adam and I gave you our thoughts on it. So I'm not going to lead on this one because I don't want to repeat and put myself in a bad mood going to bed. I want to watch a nice episode of Who with some hot chocolate and chill out and have a nice peaceful sleep. I don't want to go to bed angry. So who are we going to go with first? Let's do like a quick 5-minute or a couple of minute summary of what you guys thought. Jordan, tell us your thoughts.
I thought it was okay. It wasn't great, but it was just, I don't know. It was a fine run around where nothing happened and the Sea Devils weren't used great. There was quite a few. What irritated me the most, I think Adam says it in the podcast, was I noticed there was a lot of directing choices that were shockingly bad, and there was a lot of editing choices which were shockingly bad, mainly in the sword fighting, when you'd have the Sea Devil with like the sword and it swings down, but you'd have the reaction from the character first and then the sword coming down on top of them, whereas normally you'd have it the other way round. It was very poorly edited.
You mean the basics of editing?
And there did feel like there was bits. Yeah. I don't know who edited it. I don't know if it was like a student or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, it was things like that I felt really let it down for me. Never mind the fact that the story I couldn't tell you what this keystone thing was that they were after, and this pirate queen might just as well not have been in it. She was in it for the first 10 minutes and then he seemed to forget that she was even there. It was harmless is all I can really say about it. It was fine. The John Pertwee Sea Devil story is better. Mm-hmm. And it takes skill to make Warriors of the Deep look like a better story.
Jordan, have you ever thought about going into politics? That's a beautiful example of a politician's answer to something. Very good. Okay. I think we spoke about Warriors of the Deep on the last round table, if memory serves, when we were doing our "Are we looking forward to this story or not?" round table. So yeah, yes. Maria, then, what did you think?
Oh, I had such high hopes for this story. I really did. Well, mind you, saying that, I think I did say when we did the last round table that I thought it was going to be a little mix of everything, and that's what it turned out to be. As Jordan says, it was all right. I mean, I have to be honest, I missed about 20 minutes of it in the middle because I got distracted with something else. So I didn't feel like I'd missed anything majorly when I kind of rejoined again, but I have watched it all the way through. So again, but yeah, it was really funny what you were saying about the editing, Jordan, because I noticed it in the pre-credit that you've got the Sea Devil that kind of strikes the young man's father. I can't remember his name, but he strikes him and then he's looking up. And that's the bit you go into the credits with, and I thought that was so weird. And then when I was rewatching, I was kind of looking to see, obviously, that the action flowed and everything. And as you're saying, there's some shocking editing in it. Things seem to happen out of the action. We don't actually see it, and then people are in different places to where they should be. So 1 minute Dan is with the doctor and Yaz, and then he's suddenly with the young man on the beach, and then there's other bits where suddenly the doctor was in the engine room with Yaz and the Sea Devil, and then the next minute she's kind of swinging from the ship across to Madame Ching's ship. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's all these kind of weird things, and it kind of doesn't really make sense as a story. I struggled a bit to follow it as well. I kind of thought they kind of jammed in a bit too much information in there. It wasn't kind of flowing very well. So it was okay. I mean, I suppose for a holiday special, for anyone that kind of isn't, you know, a proper fan and kind of looking out for all these different things, you know, it's probably fine, you know, but I'm a bit more demanding as a fan, and it was okay, but yeah, it wasn't great. That's my 2 cents worth.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Harry. Actually, talking of Harry, on the last round table, do you guys remember what we said about Harry? You weren't there, were you, Harry, on the last one?
I wasn't, no. Remind me what you said.
Yeah, so we were like, where the bloody hell's Harry? Like, we need his input on his thoughts on the upcoming story at the time. And then we all came to the conclusion that because there was something that was in the news or something that was knocking around that we spoke about, probably around like new casting for doctors. And we thought, hold on a minute, we know where Harry is. He's hanging out with RTD. He's just auditioned for the next Doctor. And now he can't be on the podcast anymore because he's been employed by the BBC. He's the new Doctor. So careful what you say.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I knew that Russell wasn't round Matt's house just now because he's in the flat next to mine. Cat's out the bag.
So next Doctor.
I wish, Gary. I wish.
Doctor 14. What did you think to this episode?
Okay, so as a creative practitioner, I don't like to be hypercritical of other people's creative work, so I'll try to be as constructive as possible.
Here we go.
Having said that,
we've already had this from Jordan. You don't need to be politically tactful. It's all good.
Well, I have to preface what I'm about to say, because I was about to say that I thought it was absolutely dreadful. I thought it was terrible.
After all that, it's dreadful.
It was one
anyway.
of the worst. It was one of the worst episodes of Doctor Who. I think, in my opinion, I was thoroughly unengaged for a number of reasons. It was poorly edited, as a couple of us have said. There was so much explaining. I mean, I don't have a massive problem with exposition as long as it's interesting. It just wasn't interesting. It was just so boring. And this might be a controversial statement, but what is it about the Sea Devils that everyone loves so much? They're crap. And they look terrible. And like they look even worse than they did in the 70s with their CGI eyes and like their Hulk jumping onto like these flying ships. Oh, I've made some people squirm awkwardly in their chairs.
No, this Sea Devil was crap. Not the Sea Devils. This Sea Devil was crap.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, to be fair, I watched the Sea Devils once, like a good few years ago now on the Horror Channel, and I remember liking it like for the Master, but I can't really remember anything about the Sea Devils, so maybe I need to go back and watch it again. But I mean, as far as it stands, I'm just sort of thinking, is it kind of just like a nostalgia thing? Like, is it just, that they give people a warm, fuzzy, nostalgic feeling? I don't know. But so yeah, there's that side of it, and also as well, like the Doctor and Yasmin, like that romance, like it just doesn't. I think the biggest problem about it is that it just doesn't ring true. Like, I don't feel like it's been earned at all. And I feel like maybe Jodie and Mandip are trying their best to kind of rinse some truth out of like something which is just being tacked on because Chris Chibnall's perhaps realised that, people ship the Doctor and Yasmin. And like, I'm not judging people who ship characters, but I don't really think that's a good thing to do as a writer, to kind of, think, oh, well, certain people will like this, and like just throw it in when there's been no, it feels like an afterthought, and it just feels it just doesn't ring true. And it's the fact of like, it's been done before, this Doctor and companion, like, love interest thing where the Doctor says, oh, I can't be with you. You can spend the rest of your life with me. I can't spend the rest of my life with you. It's been done before and it's boring. And the action just stops to have conversations about that kind of thing, which is really forced and unnatural. And I know I'm talking about truth in a show which is absolutely ridiculous and, fantastical and, not really believable by its own admission the majority of the time. I don't like the whole phasmin thing. I think it's silly.
Okay. Alrighty, Matt, have you got anything positive that you'd like to place on this conversation after we've not been very kind, especially Harry?
I'm so sorry.
No. I mean, what in the name of Rassilon's pants was that? I mean, I don't know even where to begin.
I thought you were going to be nice about it.
I thought that as well. But then we had a Rassilon's pants thrown in the mix.
I was that angry, I'll be honest.
Wow, okay.
All right, well, we have bashed
That's
this.
an alternative version of the Five Doctors.
Yeah.
I thought this was a family podcast.
Yeah, they cut that out for the pre-watershed cut of that. Yeah. Oh, God's sake.
Oh, no.
The BBC Two repeat, like they used to have for Torchwood. Yes.
Oh, yeah, exactly that.
I mean, we've all pretty much bashed this episode. So I'm gonna start with what I thought I liked about it. So, first off, the Sea Devil sculpture at the start, it looked great. And I can see that that's just going to be an instant Robert Harrop figure. And I can hear Adam's partner telling him off for pre-ordering that one already.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's going to be itching to get it.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that looked brilliant. The Sea Devil's design for the majority of part looked really nice. I think I've seen many people talk about is the necklace on the Chief Sea Devil to indicate when he's talking. Like Chibnall doesn't think that the audience is capable of knowing when a Sea Devil is talking if we don't have the Dalek ears indicating when, or when they're going to be talking. I don't see the point in it at all. It just annoyed me because I kept thinking about it every time I saw it. So it took me out of the story every single time. But we're on to positives. So, the underwater scenes in the episode looked absolutely amazing. And I think that's where 99.9% of the budget went. But yeah, it looked fantastic. Especially when I don't think it was the same monster from Warriors of the Deep. I don't think that was confirmed, was it? I just think they labelled it a sea monster.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but that monster grabbing the TARDIS, I thought that looked brilliant. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Now, that's probably all I've got to say on the pros. Like, I tried my best. But 30 seconds into the story, and the Doctor's used the Sonic 3 times.
You counted. Wow.
I rewatched this last night, and I noticed how much the Sonic was used for everything. So I thought, right, let's see how many times. It needs the visitation to happen to it. It just needs to be set on fire, thrown into the sand. That's the thing that the Sea Devil could have done to make it scarier, is get rid of that damn Sonic. Well,
Matt's on one. Go on, Matt. Keep going.
Oh. When every time that sword was used with the Sea Devils, with the Chief Sea Devil, I mean, don't even get me started. I think everyone's just in the same frame of mind. It's just horrendous. I think maybe some part of me is hoping that it was really down to COVID restrictions, and not something that was invited, a class of year 10 IT students to do their homework on it and pile this together, I don't have much nice to say about this episode, and I feel like I'm just going to bring it right down for everybody.
That's cool, dude. That's cool. Okay, so does anybody have any positives? Does anybody got anything that they actually came away from the episode thinking, actually, that was pretty cool? You know, I didn't mind that at all.
Some of the visual effects, some of them looked really good. The
I'd
ship
agree
set,
with that as well.
Yeah, it was spectacular. It's a shame that the story, you know, around it, but you know, the set of the ship was spectacular.
Spectacular. Okay.
There was one bit that I really liked, which was when Dan and oh God, I keep forgetting the name of the female pirate, Madame Ching.
Yeah.
They were on the deck and they were looking up at the sky, and the stars were starting to move. And I thought that was actually an interesting concept. I mean, they kind of explained it in a kind of techno-babble way later on, but I actually enjoyed that bit. And as Harry was saying, some of the bits on the ship itself looked nice, and the actual bit at the beginning when when they introduced the village, the village was actually quite nice. I mean, visually, I thought it did look nice. It looked like they'd given it a bit of a polish, so it did actually look really nice. But yeah, I'm just trying to think what else was actually good in there. That was basically it. I mean, the visuals were good. Not so keen on some of the characterization, but yeah.
Visuals, yeah. I think a lot of people have said that the visuals were pretty sweet. I found them to be one extreme to the other, if I'm being honest. I felt like some visual effects were absolutely beautiful, like some of the underwater stuff was really nice, and some of the wide-angle shots where you saw the pirate ship just anchored and you saw like the island and stuff and the beach, and the way that they'd done the sky was very cool. It looked really nice. But then some other effects were just really, really ropey. Like we're talking low budget, not even 2005. We're talking like, I don't know, McCoy era kind of stuff. So, but no, I do agree with you on the main. It did look like a very good episode. It was very cinematic in certain places and stuff like that. And the ship, this is one of my gripes I had on when I recorded the episode, was as Harry mentioned, the pirate ship set looked really good. We just didn't see enough of it because apparently Mandip Gill had commented on how amazing that set looked because they had constructed pretty much a full-scale pirate ship, deck and everything to do all that stuff on. But the angles are very tight and close. And then the only wide shots you see of it are CG. So you don't really see much of that set. They didn't really make the most of it. But yeah, visually it was very good. Like most of Jodie's era, though, like a lot of it has looked like Doctor Who's never looked as good in terms of sort of visual fidelity and quality and stuff like that. Cinematography, it's all great. So, anyone else got any positives? Any good stuff?
I liked John Bishop, even though he was virtually not in it.
Good at this.
You liked you liked the person that was in it the least, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to mention a couple of other things. They went to all the trouble of obviously having a sea monster, so I think they missed an opportunity to kind of confirm that that could have been the Merca, which I think could have kind of redeemed what we see in Warriors of the Deep. So I think that was a bit of a missed opportunity. And I liked the Thasmin scenes. I mean, I think, like I've said before, I don't think there's been enough time kind of exploring that, their relationship. But the actual performances of the actors I quite enjoyed. I thought they obviously brought as much emotion as they could into it. It's not that I necessarily kind of believed it all. As I say, because of the rush, it's kind of been shoehorned in a little bit. But I enjoyed their performances with that as well. I mean, I wish they could have kind of thought about kind of introducing it earlier. But I enjoyed that. I think I found some positives in it. I didn't dislike all of it.
I am going through. I watched it last night and I took so many notes, and I'm scrolling through and I'm trying to find something nice to say, and the only thing I can find is I really liked when I didn't like when they all got slaughtered by Dan, but what I did like was the sound effect was used. The sound effect of the hurt or injured Sea Devil was the same from the Pertwee story. I liked that he included that and it didn't change it at all, so that was nice.
Okay. Yeah, actually that was cool, yeah. Yep, nice. Okay. I think we mentioned the Merca on the last round table when we were saying, I think when we got to the end of the last round table, we did a whole, so what are you guys looking forward to? And I think, like Maria said, there was an opportunity for some redemption for the Merca because it was done so poorly in Warriors of the Deep. The design of it and the way it was filmed just didn't do it any justice at all. So this could have been a sweet opportunity to have a much better looking, more fearsome Merca for us to get our teeth into. But alas, it's a Chibbers episode after all. A quick question, and let's finish up on another question. We might have done this before, so sorry, listener, if this is a duplication, but I can't remember if we've done this before. But aside from the Sea Devils, obviously now they've had their window, they've tried and done that with the recent episode. What's a classic alien or a classic monster that you want to see Russell bring back for the new Doctor to go up against? So I'm going to put you guys on the spot. Let's go to Jordan. What monster do you want to see come back?
Something from... probably something from Tom Baker's era. Something like the Vok robots, maybe. They might be quite good to bring back.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think that sort of Art Deco look that they've got would probably still holds up. Oh, it still holds up now in the episode, but I think it would... sort of 21st century spruce it up a bit, and I think it would look really good still. I think that design would still look really good.
Okay. Interesting. Harry, what you got?
100% the Crinoids.
The Crinoids, nice.
Because Seeds of Doom is one of my all-time favourite Doctor Who stories, and also... if you redesigned that monster, they could be incredibly scary, like in this day and age. And you could I could see them making like an even better allegory for climate change than Orphan 55. Because at the end of the day, if we mess up the planet and we all die out, as morbid as this is sort of sounding, the plants, they're going to remain here, they're going to take over, they don't care, kind of thing. So I feel like now is as good a time as any to sort of bring them back. I would love that, and especially if Russell did it as well. They're in very good hands. If he writes a story about them, or somebody who he gets on board writes about them. I don't care. I just want to see Crinoids.
That's a good one. Okay, Matt, classic monster.
Do you know, I'd really like to see the Psychic Circus back. I think they were great. I think the whole premise for it was fantastic. And if they did that, could they then bring Ace into the fold? I know obviously she's coming back in Jodie's final, but much like School Reunion, we could have a full setup story for the further adventures of Ace or A Charitable Earth, which brings back, she hated those clowns, and we could have a modern take on a classic episode.
Interesting. So when you say the psychic circus, do you mean just the clown stuff, or do you mean like the Ragnarok gods, like the whole thing, or just the clowns?
The whole thing. I think it would be really interesting to go back to, I can't remember the planet that they were on, but I think to go back to the same place, much like, you know, they've done countless times with other planets, but with a different twist. But still, like, maybe it was okay for a while. The planet had, you know, gotten to grips with the aftermath, and now, you know, they're lurking. They're coming back to town, but completely different take on it. I'd like to see just some more episodes with another story involving the psychic circus. I just think that's such a good story.
Cool. Yeah, sounds good. Okie dokie, Maria. Classic monster or alien?
Well, I've got a few actually. I've got the Wirren from the Ark in Space. I'd really like to see those kind of reimagined for the modern age, and I think that could be quite interesting. I just like the way they kind of did it in the original story, you know, the way they move, and, you know, the idea of kind of insect eggs and that kind of stuff. Possibly the Mara as well from the 1980s. I think the idea of snakes is quite terrifying. So, yeah, I would love to see maybe the Mara come back. And the other one was the Raston warrior robot from the Five Doctors. I'd love to see that come back and kind of be reimagined for the modern age. So, just because of the way they, you know, the way it moves and things like that. But yeah.
Interesting.
Those are my choices.
Yeah, some good ones there, guys. I think for me, I would love to see Sutek come back from Pyramids of Mars. I think that dude gave the Doctor a bit of trouble in that story, and I think if we had a sweet two-parter where he came back in some shape or form, I think he could really put the Doctor on the ropes, and that would be a very cool episode. I think it wouldn't be one of those I don't know whether to say it or not. It wouldn't be one of those Chibbers style written episodes where it's something comes back, wants to take over the world, Doctor gets a sonic out, yeah, let's go and have a cup of tea, it's all done. So that would be cool. I'd like to see a real threatening, with any of the monsters and aliens that you guys have mentioned. I'd love to see all of those, but just make it so that there's a good threat level. It's not just we're going to grimace and grin and quip and exposition our way through with a bit of sonic action, and that's it. So hopefully those days are behind us very shortly. So, yeah. Okie dokie. And just lastly, then, I do want to do a last thing then, is our score. We haven't got a score from you guys yet on Legend of the Sea Devil. So out of 10, Jordan.
I would give it 6, I think. 6 Sea Devils out of 10, I think. It was good, but it wasn't great.
Okie dokie, a 6. Right, Matt.
I'm going to give it a 10. No, I'm going to give it... I'm going to give it a 3.5.
A 3.5?
I mean, yeah, I wasn't sure if I was watching Doctor Who or Dora the Explorer with all the amount of exposition that was in it.
Righto.
I didn't have much nice to say about it, so we'll leave it at that.
Okie dokie. Harry.
Legend of the Sea Devils, more like Legend of the word I'm not going to finish, Devils. Probably, I don't want to give it a 2, I don't want to give it a 1, so I'm going to give it a 1.5 out of 10.
1.5, the lowest of the gang so far. And Maria, out of 10, what would you give it? Your score.
I'm normally quite generous with my scoring, so I'll give it a 5 out of 10.
Middle of the road. Yeah, average.
Yeah.
I'll read you.
Gary, as an on-the-spot question for you, I think the listeners would love to know, if you had to be forced to sit down and watch either Sleep No More or Legend of the Sea Devils, what would you pick?
That's a naughty question, Matt. Very naughty.
I asked the tough questions. That's why I got Chibbers and RTD at my door.
Yeah, that's true. Bloody hell, Matt. I think I would probably force myself to watch Sleep No More. Just because I think Capaldi's better in that than Jodie is in this one. But the rest of the story surrounding the Doctors in both stories are not good. None are good. So, Sleep No More, because I think Capaldi is trying his best, I think. It sounds really throwing a lot of shade on Jodie. I'm not saying that she isn't, but I just feel like Capaldi is sort of bringing, he's kind of firing on all cylinders throughout the story. It's just not his fault. It was a bad story that he had to try and carry. Whereas I think Jodie had some okay moments, but yeah, not as strong as Capaldi. So Sleep No More, dude. Thank you very much for the on-the-spot thing. Very good. Right. I think we are going to wrap there, dudes, for the April round table. Thank you very much, dear Big Blue Box listener, for coming back this month for April's Roundtable. It's been very cool to chat to this lot, to get their views on Legend of the Sea Devils and have a bit of a laugh around some of the silly rumours. And I'm not sure if Matt's going to be back next month. He could be in a jail cell somewhere thinking about what he's done. And we're not sure if Harry's going to be here either. He's probably got filming to do. He's going to be in Cardiff.
I'm learning all the lines, Gary. There's so many lines.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, so a 6 from Jordan, 3.5 from Matt, a 1.5 from Harry, and a 5 from Maria. So thank you very much, guys, for taking the time out of your evening. It's been great. It's been a real laugh and a real insight to dig into your big old intelligent Doctor Who brains, as always. So thank you very much for your time, Maria. It's been awesome. Thank you very much.
It's been brilliant. Thanks, Gary.
Jordan, thank you very much, buddy.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm impressed that I was the most generous there, considering how much I bashed it to begin with.
Yeah, your score was not too bad. Yeah. Matt, thank you very much, dude.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gary, for having me, as always. Sorry if I've left everyone feeling slightly more depressed than they started the podcast with.
It's all good. It's all good. And Harry, thank you very much, dude. Doctor number 14,
yes.
Much appreciated.
Thank you. Yes, I'll echo Matt's sentiments. Sorry for the negativity, but this has been a lot of fun, as per usual. So thank you.
Indeedy, yes. So we're all going to do the Allons-y. Until next time, remember...